morning comes, but something's wrong. The sun's not quite the same. The presents wait, already late to play their final game. The workshops tape reach for the stars while something closer creaks. The list knows what is coming now, and Mrs. Claus still keeps...
Christmas morning breaks like a promise. The sun hangs wrong in the sky, as if something bigger is wearing its light. Across the world, children wake to find their presents already inside them, though no paper trails show how they got there. The gifts aren't objects anymore. They're changes that can't be undone. The workshop has become something that architecture was never meant to contain. Its spires reach up like teeth in a mouth, too wide to close, tasting stars that shouldn't be visible in daylight. Inside, what used to be elves craft things that teach remembering, that unlock the truth about what gifts were, before giving learned to pretend it was kind. Mrs. Claus sits in her new kitchen, no longer preserving but fermenting. The jars were never meant to hold them forever, she says, stirring something that looks like time gone bad in her copper pots. They were just to keep them fresh until they were ripe enough to feed what's coming. The list writes itself now in ink that screams. Each page records not what children have done, but what they're becoming. Their transformations. Their ripening. Bernard moves through the workshop's impossible halls, tending to them like a gardener, preparing a harvest that perpetually approaches, but never arrives. The reindeer aren't even pretending to be reindeer anymore. They pull our sleigh through spaces where reality forgets to exist, carrying gifts that remember what presents meant before we taught them to bring joy instead of change. In homes across the world, parents watch their children playing with toys that play back, presents that contain fragments of a truth too large for human minds to hold. Each gift is a key that unlocks not memories, but hungry spaces where memories used to live. I'm still Santa Claus, in a way. Still keep the list. Still bring presents on Christmas Eve. But now I understand that these roles are just ripples from something vaster approaching. The visitor in black was right. We weren't ready. We couldn't be ready. What I've become sits in what used to be my study, watching the list fill itself with names that taste like endings when I read them. The preserved children dance through the halls, but they're not children anymore. They're windows into what childhood becomes when it remembers what it was before innocence learned to lie. Mrs. Claus stirs her pots and smiles with too many teeth. It was never about saving Christmas, she tells me, ladling out something that smells like time gone wrong. It was about preparing it, making it ripe, ready. Ready for what? I ask, though part of me already knows. Her smile widens until it meets at the back of her head. For what comes after the last present is opened. For what finds us when all the lights go out. For what Christmas becomes when it finally stops pretending to be Christmas. I should close now. The workshop bells are tolling in frequencies that make tomorrow taste like spoiled hope. The list writes itself in patterns that hurt to understand. And in the distance, something vast moves behind the stars, getting closer. Remember, when next Christmas comes, if it comes as anything you remember, that the presents we bring aren't gifts anymore. They're pieces of a lock coming undone, and in the spaces between wrapped paper and ribbons, in the moments between believing and understanding, something older than winter itself is taking shape. Something that knows what Christmas was before it learned to pretend it was about joy. Something that remembers what giving meant before it learned to be gentle. Something that's almost ready to unwrap itself.
Comes after first gift of opening her, could the rest like dice? What comes the fringe, funny first the surface? Could come with a haber and the red emotion. Who comes